Okay, so I'm going to give you 11 awesome banjo songs to listen to. And these are some songs that many of you probably never heard of them. In fact, some of these I had never heard of until last week. I wanted to create a list of some of my favorite banjo players and just kind of, if you will, promote some of their tunes and some of the lesser known players and songs as well. Okay, so number one is Rainbow Ride by Jimmy Arnold. And what can I say? I think Jimmy Arnold was one of the best banjo players to ever live. It's unfortunate we don't have more of his wonderful playing. Rainbow Ride is a great little tune with lots of bounce. It kind of reminds me of Alan Shelton in a distant sort of way, but of course he has his own tone, if you will. And I love the chord structure to this tune. And I think that's something that kind of draws me to Jimmy Arnold's playing, is he writes just as good as he plays. This next one is Rhapsody for Banjo by Larry McNeely. Larry McNeely, of course, played with the great Glenn Campbell, and I'll never forget the first time someone ever told me about Larry McNeely. I was like, who's that? I never heard of him. Then I went and listened to him, and I was like, how have I never heard of this guy before? He just sounds light years ahead of his time on some of these recordings, and the entire Rhapsody for Banjo album is just mind-blowingly good. This is the title track. Go check it out. It's truly ahead of its time. This next one is, oddly enough, entitled Santa Claus by Bill Keith. Many of you have heard of Bill Keith. He kind of, helped make the melodic style famous. And I don't know if this is really a banjo tune. Him and, Bill Monroe recorded it in the early 60s. But I think this is a superb track to get familiar with the melodic banjo style because it's not too fast. It's got a nice little lilt to it. And this tune was inspired a bit by the old song, I Don't Love Nobody. This is a great tune. When I was growing up, everybody played this. And it's not as well known now, but check out Santa Claus by Bill Keith or Bill Monroe. This next tune is by one of my favorite banjo players of all time, Bill Emerson. It's called Welcome to New York. And honestly, I had a hard time deciding what Bill Emerson tune to recommend, but this one you're not going to hear it as much as something like Cowboys and Indians or even Sweet Dixie. I think Welcome to New York is just a beautiful tune. I think Bill Emerson is probably one of the best songwriters for the banjo ever, as far as I'm concerned. The album Home of the Red Fox has got to be one of the best banjo albums ever. Tony Rice playing the guitar, lots of great music. This tune has some beautiful chord changes, and the playing on this one is just great by everybody. Of course, I'm not going to do a list without mentioning my favorite banjo player of all time, Alan Shelton. Go check out Banjo Bounce. This is a tune that he wrote. It features some nice chord changes, and you'll hear his banjo bounce in it. In particular, you're going to hear this fast B-flat to A chord change movement in the second section, and it just kind of hits you like a ton of bricks out of nowhere. Check out Banjo Bounce by Alan Shelton. This next one, Pickaway by Vic Jordan. Vic Jordan is another one of those guys that was just an underrated banjo player. This album was recorded in where I'm from, Marietta, Georgia. The record label spelled Adaram is Marietta backwards, and I knew the guy, Carl Queen, that helped record this album. Pickaway is the title track, and just about every song on Pickaway by Vic Jordan, the album is a killer tune. But this tune in particular features some nice chord changes, and it's mixed in with Vic Jordan's super tasty playing. Check out Pickaway by Vic Jordan. This next song, Darcy Pharaoh by Alan Monday. And I must admit, I had an extremely difficult time picking an Alan Monday song because, man, has he written some awesome tunes. Peaches and Cream is probably one of his most well-known songs. I chose this one because I just love the melody, and I love the F chord and the key of F sound in this one. It's a lesser-known song, but it's a great example of Alan's awesome songwriting. What a great player. Check out Darcy Farrow by Alan Monday. Now we're getting into some that are not as well known. This next one is Elsie by Jimmy Henley. He was another one that was more well known a few decades back. He was a child prodigy that came on the banjo scene playing in a manner that was just way advanced for his age. I thought this little known track was a great tune that was representative of his playing. It's set in a minor key with some amazing, tasty playing and just gobs of tone and talent from this little kid on this album. Go check this out, Elsie by Jimmy Henley. All right, awesome track. This next one is one of my favorite players that I don't think gets his due, John Hickman. Of course, he played with Byron Berline. This song is called Ghost Dance. It's another one that's in a minor key. I thought it was just an awesome tune, and I've actually added it to my own list of tunes to learn. Ghost Dance, go check out John Hickman's awesome banjo playing on this one. This next one is more of a modern, newer player, Allison Brown, and I chose this tune, Late on Arrival. And the reason I chose this one is, she's really well known for her modern kind of progressive sound, even some jazzy kind of things. And I thought this was just a great driving fast bluegrass track that just shows how well she can lay down some solid bluegrass and mix it in with her own style of melodics and, all of her technique stuff. So this track, Late on Arrival, this is on my own list of things to learn. I just thought this was an awesome song. And by the way, she's really cool. I've met her a few times. Really nice lady and great picker. So check out Allison Brown. Last track here is called Old Time Risin' Damp. That's a mouthful. By Alan O'Brien. And Alan O'Brien is known as an incredible singer, but he did some really unique banjo work with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. I was less familiar with this track when I started this project, but I went on to find this one. I was like, man, this really shows off his incredible skills. I really liked his playing on Old Dangerfield, so be sure to check that one out as well. But this old tune, it's tuned down, and it's just got this really old, timey kind of feel of it. And it reminds me a bit of Billy and the Low Ground, at least kind of how I play it, tuned down. And I just thought this was a really awesome track. Alan Bryant's got some really neat melodic licks in his playing, so go check out Alan O'Brien. All right, that concludes this little list of awesome, lesser-known banjo tunes. My idea here was just to throw some new players at you, some new tunes, and hopefully you find something that you like. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. All right, take care, everybody.